Hello, welcome back. Today our issue is playing by memory, benefits and how to learn. Well, some people learn by memory very easily. To mention one well-known example, Glenn Gould played a piece once, and he could play it instantly by memory, went only back to the music to write some ideas or fingerings in. This talk is not interesting for this kind of people. They don't need a talk. This talk is about the many of us who have problems playing by memory. And I was one of them. When I was 19, I attempted to learn my favorite piece by memory and finally perform it for my audition. The Prelude from Bach's Cello Suite No. 2. I tried for 1.5 years, but failed to get it. I ended up reading the music. Then I read a study about that our memory gradually declines after the age of 20. I had 2 months to go. That's it, I thought. I'm good at math and thinking, have a good ear, but I'm bad at languages and anything what has to do with memory. But today, I can play more than 100 pieces of memory, actually several hundred. A student of mine asked once how long it would take to play them all, and I calculated it's 10 to 12 hours. So it's never too late. In this talk, I will first go through the benefits of playing by memory. Secondly, about how best to learn to play by memory. So firstly, when the benefits wouldn't be great, why would we bother to go through the process of learning by heart when we just can read? But there are massive benefits. We might not realize it straight away. For example, when we see a forte sign followed by piano, do we really play that forte and then this piano? Too often we think we do, but a listener would even pick up the difference between our forte and piano, because we read and don't listen. It's just only in our mind. When we would play the same piece by memory, look into the room, we would hear straight away that was not a piano at all, because we listened to the sound and the effect we created. That has to do with a few things. When our eyes are active, our ears are less active. Maybe you have noticed if at night you have music playing and then switch the lights off, it feels as if the music is suddenly louder. Eye activity takes away from listening. That means our sound quality is little regarded when we read. We are more interesting players when we play by memory, just because we listen better. Any interpretation will be stronger. This has to do with an added factor. When we read, we stick to our few seconds we just play and read the dynamics. When we play by memory, we really think ahead. We not only prepare technical shifts earlier, but in our mind we hear the phrase as a whole and prepare the beginning of the next one. We feel musically embedded and immersed in the flow. We can foresee the flow in advance. Also, of course, in order to learn by memory, we need so often to go over and over each part, we get to know it much better. We know every note and finger better, and then we can express stronger. From my experience, once music is safely in our head, it actually stays often for years. There's another benefit, hardly mentioned. The sheet music on the music stand is a bad reflector. In fact, it doesn't reflect at all. So the sound does not go out, does not fill the room. Paper makes the sound bland. Just try out for a moment. Play a short passage with the music stand in front of you, even just some long notes. Then put the music stand aside and play into the room. It sounds so much better and fuller. And one last comment. Have you ever seen an actor or actress running around reading the score? Of course not. They speak from memory. I've seen dramas read from a book. it was always very boring, uninvolved, or at best or worst, try-hard expressions. Music read from the score is also never that expressive and lively and naturally than played by memory. Different people rely on different information. Some learn the melody by sound and find the fingers to it. A second group learns the fingerings, one pattern after the other. A third group keeps the image of the print in mind and reads the music with that inner image in their head. And many combine the different information. Some theorists think they're always separated, but I ask everyone, it's not true. Most mix it. Interestingly, both the music image readers and the oral memorizing group develop a finger memory as well and often hear the inner flow of the melody. And now, how best to learn a piece. I know today why I failed learning my absolute favorite piece at the time. It was simply too long. The hardest piece to learn is the very first one. We need to build up that skill, plus a confidence playing without our secure helper looking at the music. Instead, we need to rely on our inner mind only. Up to now, our short-time memory needed to keep a couple of notes, a half a bar or measure in mind. That gave us time to look at the fingerboard, bow, a glance at another person, a tiny time spent to remember, less than 1 second. And even then, students often ask me, sorry, lost my spot, where was I? It's so often. This is now totally changing. They say a completely different part of the brain needs to be switched on. For sure, it needs 2 parts, confidence and develop storage capacity. And now to the first piece, the hardest one, the new journey. Therefore, it needs to be a short one. Choose one you like and know very well. So, usually I say, let's start extremely easy. I would say take a very simple piece like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, The Ode to Joy, or Rigadoon. These 3 have proven to be a good start. Now learn first only 2 bars or measures. Play the 2 bars repeatedly and try by memory. Try first just that, not more. Once that part sits, go on. When it comes, play the whole first line, 4 bars, until it comes fluently. Also, try to observe how sound and fingers work together. More fingers on the string and the pitch goes up, like 1 is lower, 3 is higher, 4 is even higher, and the next string comes. Next day, check if you still remember and play that part until it comes a couple of times without hesitation and mistake. And otherwise, repeat until it comes, maybe the next day. Then learn the next line, together 8 bars or measures. For some, that might come on the first day. For others, it might take a couple of days. For sure, don't go on, unless just playing through. If it feels easy, you can go on until it feels enough for today. If it feels enough and doesn't come easy, don't push it. For everyone, this amount looks different. Well, the initial easy piece can establish the feeling of successfully playing by memory at all. As ridiculous as it sounds, it is the most essential step. Once you mastered 1 or 2 very easy pieces, progress to a choice of a favorite of yours that you would love to play without music and don't mind repeating often. Even in the long-time learning, once we feel already more secure, limit what to learn in one go. Very often it's about 1 line, maybe the first 2 lines. Having said that, the unit is best a musical unit, like 1, 2, 4 or 8 bars or measures. In the majority of pieces, 4 or 8 bars is a musical unit, the first complete section. In slow pieces though, sometimes 1 bar or measure can be quite long, like for example in the third movement of the Vivaldi Sonata, E minor. One bar is quite a substantial unit. I just play it. It's, by the way, the first piece in tenor clef, and let's play it. And that was one bar or measure only. So in every piece it's different. Like in the Rigadoon, it was just, that's one measure. So it's very different. So it's difficult to give a measured guideline. Pieces don't oblige to a clear guideline expressed in numbers. The Vivaldi before movement has only 10 bars or measures altogether. So choose an amount of material which seems suitable to you for today or a few days. And now I will go on to learning a longer piece. Once quite a part of a piece is by memory and the learning seems to drag on, I often do what I call learning backwards. Not really. I go to the end of the piece and learn the very last 2, 4 or 8 bars. After that, the section before and so on. Usually this comes faster than when we learn the first bars, because we know already so many elements of that piece. Then we go on, choose which side we prefer to go on until they both meet. It is a bit like doing a puzzle, and you start from both ends until you notice it all fits now, and a little gap is left, and now easy found. Like in the puzzle, it offers us the audio picture of the whole movement. In the puzzle, the visual and here the audio. It's very similar. In music, that happens often as a surprise. Suddenly, we notice we can play the whole movement faster than we expected. I found that starting on both ends is the fastest way to learn. And here a collection of more suggestions, ideas and factors contributing. Make sure when you learn by repeating a part to use always the same fingerings and bowing. Otherwise, it will be an extra burden for the memory. If you notice it's somewhere not consistent, write the fingerings and bowings in, even if you want to learn it by memory. You can always rub them out once they sit securely. And then, by repeating, the memory will come faster. When the difficulty is a particular spot, it is beneficial to play just up to the end of that spot. Finish with the troublesome section, not going on. Then this section sends out in the correct way in the memory and will stay better in mind. Going on would water down the new achieved clarity. So finish with the trouble spot for a few days until it's all correct and secure. Once we can play a piece okay by memory, best put the music on the ground, not on the music stand. It's too tempting. With the music on the ground, if we need to check out something we play, we turn to the side, look at the music on the floor, find the spot. Ah, that's how it was. Then we take our eyes up again and continue to play from memory. Gradually, a sensitivity will develop about at what condition our mind is today. We need to have an open mind to take more on. Or does our mind feel today overwhelmed? Or do I feel energetic to try 3, 5 or more times and I could get it today? In that case, go for it. Play until it comes, even if it takes 10, 20 times. Long pieces come often suddenly. Only the beginning has to be learned systematically. As I expressed before, start from the end to the beginning, and then they come suddenly. But somehow we can't push that moment that it suddenly comes. Repetition helps, of course, but it's not a guarantee. If a piece is long and includes similar items, it's better to play the whole piece only once at a time and have a good break before we play it again. Otherwise, we can get mixed up with the similar parts. Did I do that part already? Or was it the time before? And we are not sure, so take a break in between. And now, long-term memory. Well, once it's a piece by memory, it can get lost again. I did a video on how to build a repertoire, and it goes into the process of long-term storing in our head. In short, I recommend to have a list of pieces by memory, as mentioned in several places. Create a favorites folder. Then create an additional list of pieces for pieces by memory. Then after a few months, not more than half a year, maybe 3 months, start repeating from the list. Maybe every first week of the month until they come again by memory. Then tick them off. And when the list gets too long, go to 2 monthly. In general, to relearn a piece, depending on the length, I play 3 times through. The third time is usually the best. If the piece has repeats like all the movements of the cello suites except the preludes, I play each part 3 times. And again, play it more often, dependent on the noticeable mind agility on the day. I might mention too, if you lose a piece by memory, it's not only negative, it's sometimes beneficial. When we learn it again, after, it will sit better. And I forgot another benefit for playing by memory. When you play it a second time through, the first thing you forget is actually tensions and fear. And when you go the second time through, you play it more relaxed, you put more natural dynamics in it. So it's not bad to take a break, not do it every day, and after the break, take it again. And even the break can be a little bit longer. And now, to an often discussed subject, playing with closed eyes. First, it's a bit hard to switch between open eyes and closed eyes, as it is to switch between reading and playing by memory. I recommend better do one or the other. Don't mix it. An advantage of playing with closed eyes is we can virtually see with our inner eye the length of a shift. The imagination of the shift and reality of the correct pitch come very close when playing with closed eyes. We get it better and more secure. So, if you don't want to perform with closed eyes, as a way of practice, it is a very good thing. Also, some students of mine told me, with their big families, when the room they play in is busy, they can better withdraw into the music world without getting disturbed when they close their eyes. I myself can't play for too long with closed eyes. But even when the eyes are open, I recommend not to look at the left hand at all. It interferes with intonation, diminishes listening. It can actually take away some positive elements of playing by memory. There is an interesting video of the fantastic cellist Emmanuel Feuermann, in which he stares blank into the distance. You can really see that he sees nothing, only the music in his head, even the fingers in his head. And this is the best state, either with closed eyes or open. Staring somewhere far away, like a corner in the room, imagining your fingers and listen to your sound as if you are a listener. Anticipating, always open to correct movements and positions so intonation and dynamics happen planned and controlled. And at last, 2 little tips. How to choose a piece for the day. And I have a basic rule. When I whistle or hum a piece in the morning, this piece is good for today. Second tip. Create small events to perform by memory. Maybe outside, for a friend, for family, or in church. Just one piece to start with. I'm wishing you success. Finally playing by memory safely. Feels wonderful. Feels complete. Goodbye for now.